Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I am your humble host, Mr. David Null, also known as Hawkeye Two Face, and I greet you with the love and the honor of the infinite Creator. And I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings out there in the universe. So, welcome this morning. It's 12:29 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I welcome you all. Hello, Miss Michelle and Dominic. Oh no, Dominic, I'm always in the void. I'm null in the void. Hey, Chloe, how are you? And especially with my new little pipe that I acquired the other day because my other one just keeps getting being broke, and it's a couple of years old now. And I was at that store where they sell these kinds of things, and um, lo and behold, wow! But anyway, love you too, Dominic, and all y'all. But so this particular subject is kind of has been rolling around in the back of my head for a while. You know me. I always talk about it. Who, me? I look extra happy? Nah, I'm going to be even happier when I light this. How you doing, Michelle? Oh, I'm sorry I didn't answer your text earlier. I was having, it said I was getting flashes or images or something, and you asked me what. And I got to stop and thought about it. It was like, all it was just flashes of you for some reason. And it was like, whatever. But anyway, nothing in particular. And I was like, I did say that, didn't I? But anyway, so cheers. Yummy yum. So, the age old question, why are we here? Well, when I was growing up, I was like, here's one of those things about life. And in growing up, in my argument, I didn't ask to be here. Okay. Where they're like, well, you got to do this and you got to play by social mores and morals and stuff. And like, yeah, but I didn't ask to be here. Well, none of us did, I don't think, unless there was some kind of spiritual contract that you may have signed or something, angel thingy. Um, oh, this I just got to say that what's in here is yummy. Okay. I don't know about the best, but it's really yummy. All right. I'm just going to leave it at that. Yummy. And this little pipe really hits well too. It was like $5. Ooh, that was a lot of fun. But so why are we here? What is our purpose kind of thing? Um, it's like pine tar. Oh, I would never discuss flavors. Uh, but just that it's yummy. Okay. It's yummy. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Yummy. Um, Hey, Barry, how are you, my friends? How are you all, my friends? But anyway, so I was thinking about, the purpose of life. Why are we here? And, y'all know I've had the heart attack thing and going to the doctors and all that good stuff. And so my latest is that they called me yesterday from the cardiologist, and happy Valentine's Day late because it's almost over, my friends. Yeah. That my blood work came back for my heart and it was good. And also the EKG they did last week on Wednesday came was good. So I can't be doing any better under the circumstances. I'm very happy, lucky, and very grateful. That the medicine, all I call these medicines. I'm taking have regulated my heart and that my blood work and everything is good. So I gotta say though that as I've said in when I got done with Roberts over there, that in looking at my life, is what have I done to like prolong my life? Well, I haven't taken any kind of Ormus or any kind of special juices or anything like that. I've just eaten correctly, you know, things that wouldn't kill me, and I don't eat a lot of bacon and grease and stuff, and I'm careful in that area. I don't, as many of you know, I used to be 250 pounds. Now I'm a consistent 180. Again, I got weighed the other day, and what has this got to do with our purpose in life? Because it does. My purpose in life, especially here these last few years, is to try to stay as healthy as possible, and I never, figured I would make it to 70. And so in our life changes, uh, of course, we may have the genes that predetermine us to have cancer or something like that. Okay. But there are things like heart disease and stuff like that, and kidney disease and things that we can control it simply by the correct foods that we eat. Just as simple as that. If we eat the right stuff and we're not overweight or whatever. Now, what's that got to do with why are we here? Because one of the things we might not have planned to be here. Many of us may not have signed some kind of soul contract that says, okay, here you go. I'm agreeing to do this, and I'm going to go ahead and and become the soul of this infant that is being created by two dummies down there on the planet. And I'm going to do this. So, but really, why are we here? What purpose do we have? Well, my purpose for life as a 17-year-old when I graduated high school, and my purpose in life now. And why am I here? Well, right now I'm here because I want to fricking survive another 10 years, okay, I've had my scare. I've had my heart attack thingy and kidney thing. Okay, how close to death are we? That was too close. Let's stay out of that realm. Now, how do we do this? I continue to eat right. I continue to exercise. I continue to do breathing exercises. I continue to try to live my life correctly. Okay. Now that's for anybody out there. Do you have to do anything special? And at this point in my life, and looking back over it, I would think that there are some folks who their purpose has been to like find all these, exotic things that are going to prolong their life. Okay. I haven't done any of those exotic things. I've done very simple things and I've made it to 70. And yeah, I'm bragging because I don't believe it. But here's the thing. Folks, well, if you take this, you'll live longer. Well, I'm already older than you, and all of my blood work comes back good. Why should I go off on some kind of tangent that now I should take this, or I should have been taking this all along, or I should have been doing distilled water, or I should have been, but I didn't, but I'm still here, and all my signs are good. Okay, So there are some people who their purpose in life, it seems that they're going to be a vegetarian, they're going to take all these juices, they're going to do all these things um, that's going to make them healthy. But I just have to ask the question, will it really make them any healthier than if they just lived a normal life? Okay. So, but they have taken on this purpose of life. It's got to be, well, some of these folks are overweight and they need to get a purpose. But that if there isn't some reason for them to be living, it's like, can you just like not eat out all the time? Can you like use, buy correct meats and things and stuff and eat, you know, smaller portions? You know, keep an eye on how much sugars you take in. Now, there are people who are prone to be diabetic and so forth. I understand that. But even with diet, you can control diabetes, especially whatever type it is that you can do that with. Um, your ego is getting in the mix. Eat right, my ass. Eat better, I believe. I'm doing well. See, for me, I must be doing it right. So, but for other people, they need to eat better. I would agree with that. Your ego is getting in the mix. What's it for, though? Ego is protection. Well, I'm not saying that my ego is right. I'm saying that I made it to my age because I just took care of myself. I didn't have to go out of my way to be healthy. I just exercised and ate correctly. And, other folks, they need to eat better, for how I've regulated my diet and so forth, So, but it is that perception, though. So I ask, what can I do to make it better? And they go, just whatever you're doing, keep it up, So, okay. But anyway, so our purpose in life is to get through it. Our purpose in life is to experience life. So when I was 20 years old, what my purpose was then is just not the same as it is now. I had children. I had to, I had to have a job. I had to provide for them. I was building the house here. I was buying the property, and so what my goal in life and what my purpose was to provide for my family at the time. Well, so that purpose is no longer there. So now at 70, whatever whatever age you are, does I would say that it depends on where you are in life as to what your purpose is at the time. So, somebody like today, well, it was yesterday, but was my friend Marcia's birthday, and she's been gone 2 years now. Um, I think at least 2 years now. And so it's like, all right, so wish her a belated happy birthday to the universe. But I expected some of these folks to outlive me, you know. But as I changed my perspective later on in life, as my purpose changed, so did my tactics. Like I decided to get rid of stress. I decided that things that had been bothering me since childhood, I would get rid of those issues. I would settle issues. I would get in touch with people and do whatever, I asked for forgiveness for many people. I settled things. Not necessarily thinking I was going to die, but I had to get rid of all the old junk that had accumulated in my life. As the story goes, the person, the picking cotton. You got this big sack, and they're picking cotton. They go down the row, and when they get down to the end of the row, Um, do you go around to the next row and you keep dragging that bag of cotton with you? Because by the time you get back to the other end of that field, it's going to be mighty heavy. So you empty that sack of cotton. So when you get to an end of a row, you dump your stress. As the Native Americans and the cards have shown, you dump all the useless stuff and you give yourself room to bring in new things. Life support should be those for needed. Yeah, there are a lot of folks though that think they need it, and when they really don't. I've had some folks before. I looked at them and said, "Listen, are you still breathing? Yeah. You're not dead yet, right? Yeah. Then do something about whatever it is your problem is. Do something. Well, I don't know what. Well, then seek, look for an answer. Well, I don't know what it was. Well, okay. Well, what about this or what about that? Have you thought about this? Well, um, okay, but there are folks who get stymied really easy, and I have gotten stymied in my lifetime too. I was working in an area, and I thought I was going to be a machinist and I was going to work in factories and I was going to have a decent income. And then all of that changed. And then I got my contractor's license and I was doing buildings and, going out and doing construction work and stuff. And then the Mexicans moved in to South, into the South down here. And I simply couldn't compete with the Mexican work. Just honest to God. A lot of us white guys lost our butts, So I had contractor's license, I had insurance, I had the whole 9 yards, and I could not compete. So, but anyway, so that went out the window. So my purpose in life was to be self-sufficient and to have my own job and to be my own boss and I did it. It just didn't last very long. So then I had to go back to work for the man, and then I went back to school, and then I went, So my purpose in life was to get through life, and after I purchased the property, my purpose became to pay off the property so that I would have a place to stay and live. And so, but, before I bought the property, I was renting and looking and doing and hadn't really settled down yet. So, as I don't know how it is in your life, but there, if you think that there's only one purpose in life, I would say, nah, it's more of a multi-purpose in life. Well, I raised children. Okay, well, I raised children, but now the children are 50, you know, or in their 50s, and they ain't children no more. And so now what do you do? So your purpose and the focus changes and why am I here? Well, now, I want to try to stay as healthy as possible and live as long as I can, but I still want to have adventures. There are still things I want to do here on the property. I still want to buy some more fruit trees and things. And since it looks like I can be around for a few more years, uh, oh, thank you, Dead End Collective. Um, but so, what is my purpose now? It's to try to, help other folks say, listen, life can be really crappy at times, but tomorrow, the skies can be blue and there's no chemtrails. Today, the sky was blue and there were really big chemtrails, but they passed on by and didn't collect. That was nice. Um, but so if if you get stymied in life, in other words, like for me, there were times when I'm working along and I'm making a decent salary, and the next thing you know, you don't have a job. That ain't your fault. It's just you don't have a job anymore. So now what do you do? So what your purpose in life was at the time that you were working, and that you're an engineer and you're being productive and fruitful, and you're helping, and all these wonderful things, and then all of a sudden it ain't there no more. So now what's your purpose? Why am I here? I was doing what I thought I was supposed to be doing. I had all these people that I knew, and I was doing a great job, and I all my life I wanted to be an engineer and be good at my job, and now there is no job, there is no that. Where did that go? Not any fault of mine, along with all the other folks that lost their job. But so our purpose changes, sometimes having nothing to do with it's circumstances beyond our control. So as much as we want to say, well, you know, well, I'm still an engineer, even though I'm retired. I'm still got things in my head. I still have helped people with certain things and blah blah blah. But at the same time, though, I'm not doing what I really wanted to do. I wanted to retire, being an engineer and fixing machines and stuff. And well, okay, so the world will change. You can bet on it. And if you put all your eggs in one basket, if you think that you only have one purpose, oh, okay. But if what you think is your purpose and it's going to be a long term thing, nowadays you have to reconsider. So our purpose now in life is to make it through it. Why am I here? Does it matter? I mean, I'm not trying to be snooty or whatever, but I'm serious. All the years I spent wondering, why am I here? What is my purpose? Well, my purpose has changed over the years. Why am I here? Well, it's to it's to do the best you can under whatever circumstances you get. Now, who said that? Well, it's just from experience, because I tried committing suicide. I spent years being depressed. I spent years being a drunk and an alcoholic and a drug addict. None of that was any good. I could have spent that time and money and energy and been a lot more progressive or productive or whatever in life. So can't look back and bitch about it. But because at the time I didn't think I had a purpose. There are many people I've talked to recently who've had bouts of depression, who've had issues with daily life and stumbling blocks and things. And in the midst of it all, folk, I'm not trying to speak for them. Um, in that, life will throw us stumbling blocks all the time. It's how we look at those stumbling blocks. Oh my God, there's a stumbling block. Oh, how am I going to get around it? Oh my God, there's another stumbling block. Oh, what am I going to? And so all you end up doing is focusing on the stumbling blocks, where you say, well, look, I'm going to have to make a detour. Well, doggone it, going to have to make another detour. I wonder where this detour is going to take me. And sometimes like the other day I was talking about, was trying to come down the hill on the way home, and there was an accident at the bottom of the hill, and traffic didn't move an inch for 30 minutes. And nothing you could do. There was no way to turn around. It was the only way for me to go home. Um, so sometimes you're just stuck in the moment. You know, um, it ain't your fault, but it's a stumbling block. How am I going to get around this? Well, if you focus only on that, how can I get around it? Hmm, here's a Jenga puzzle. Which block do I pull out without the tower falling down? Um, I guess that's the right. Anyway, but so to the point though, which domino do I play? Or if in life is a game. It is. It's a gamble. Sometimes if you turn left or you turn right, it's a gamble what's going to be down the road. You don't really know. So, been in understanding some of these things and some of these basic things in life, we can get through life better. So, what's our purpose? Well, some people put a gun to their head or whatever. I tried the noose to kill myself, and um, strangling to death is really not fun. It's really not fun. I've almost drowned. Uh, that's not fun, which is similar to the strangling, but with water instead of a rope. But you know, there are folks who cash out of this life early, and anybody can. You can leave this place anytime you damn well want to, but is it the right thing to do? Well, that's where the spirit comes in. Well, there are people who commit suicide. I fascinated on suicide for years. I know other people who have. I know a person or two has it. They didn't necessarily die from an attempted suicide, but their suicide tendencies killed them early with depression and drinking and alcohol, and that killed them. So they committed suicide in a way. Most times we worry that nothing ever changes, and then when something suddenly does, we panic. I would agree with that. I think our purpose is achieved by not knowing our purpose. It hits you out of the blue, usually a moment of clarity. Yep. Well, here's the thing that over time and things that are out of your control, what is your purpose today may not be your purpose tomorrow. That's my point. I went to work one day and they said, "Here's your pink slip." And I went, "What? Now what am I going to do?" So all the purpose and everything backing it and all the plans and all the stuff, it all just abruptly came to a halt. So now what do you do? But the basic purpose in life is to get through it. Simply. How you do it is up to you and which choices and things that you do. Um, I knew a person, her husband died of cancer. Tragically, he was not even 60 years old. And she lost her soulmate and partner and so forth. But it was also through a time she was a realtor, and the market dropped. Now they had three or four houses and a townhouse in Atlanta. I mean, worth millions of dollars when you get right down to it. And she ended up living in the back of her car and was going to commit suicide. And I was like, "You have all this knowledge, but I've lost everything." You're right, but you made some damn bad choices. Um, Instead of changing her lifestyle, she still wanted to go out and she still spent money and she sent all of her credit cards out to the max because she refused to change her lifestyle. And it was like, so sell one of your houses, even if you take a loss, and invest that money in something else. Instead, she went on trips and spent the money and and she ended up on the street. So I offered her a place to live here, and she said, "Oh, I wouldn't live here at your house. Somebody needs to come in here and just bulldoze your place down." So she turned down living in my house, which this has been 10 or so or 15 years ago now that this happened. But my house is still here. And last time I heard, she was living under a bridge. Okay, choices, you know. But her purpose changed. Her husband died, and why she lived, and her this. And then I think she lost a son too. And now those are tragic events, don't get me wrong. But you know, she had her and her husband at one time had been worth literally with the houses and the property at least $1.5 million in the properties they had. And then to just be living under a bridge within a couple of years, come on now, bad choices. She might, not have lived the high life, but she could have lived in a small house. She could have sold all of her properties and purchased a small place that would fit her income, which was almost nothing. And she could have survived and she could have, but no, she ended up losing it all. And uh, very interesting, Niles. Um, so our purpose in life, as a teenager growing up, and there are some folks who, I got a friend of mine who's a doctor, and he knew growing up that he was going to be a doctor, and he's still a doctor. So, but how he's a doctor and the area of medicine that he went into has changed over the years, and he's a very good surgeon, um, and um, um, and well respected. And his wife is a nurse. So both of them are in the healthcare field, and wonderful people. He's Jewish and she's Catholic. They have beautiful children, and I've known Eric for quite a while now. We used to do theater together and so forth. But so his purpose in life was to be a healer and and he went to school, became a doctor. And so his purpose hasn't really changed, you know. Another friend of mine is a lawyer. We were born on the same date, September 24th, but I'm a year older than he is. I've been in and out of all kinds of different businesses. He went to school and became a lawyer, and he's still an attorney or a lawyer or whatever he is. So, his purpose hasn't changed. What type of law he practices has changed, but he's still in the profession. So now, a long time ago, I've always wanted to help people. When I was in high school, I was thinking about becoming a priest and this and that and the other thing. So my purpose in life has always tried to be to help people, and I have in whatever ways that I can. Uh, you know, Over the years, lots of people have lived here for nothing, just to try to get their lives together. Um, and because I was homeless too. I lived in a cardboard box for a while, and I've lived in a tent, and I've lived in the back of my car, and I've gone through that. So having lived it, part of my thing is that if I know somebody else is going through a hardship and I can help, I should help. Because when I got out of jail, there were people that, I didn't have a bedroom, but I had a place on the floor. And I was so grateful that I had a place on the floor, um, because it wasn't jail. And they were like, how somebody said, how can you be sleeping on the floor of their living room? Because they didn't really, it was a small house, they didn't really have a couch. And so I just slept on the floor. I didn't even really have a mattress. But I was so grateful that I had a place to sleep that was not jail, and that I was a free man, that I didn't care. But it's an old house and it's an old wooden floor and you're sleeping. Yeah, I'm not in jail anymore. You just don't understand. I'm not in jail. Things got better. I had to go through that period. I had to sleep on the floor. I had to build back up and gradually, you know, stand up again, I guess, if you will. And so my purpose at the time was to do my best and to keep a roof on my head and stay out of jail and to get back on my feet again and to get my own place again and to become a functioning member of society again. And that was my purpose. So to stay out of jail was a big purpose. It was really, but a lot of folks don't look at it that way. Blah, blah, blah. Shame on me. Howdy, Steve. How are you? Trauma never makes you good with money. Bad decisions always come from trauma. Um, my bad decisions were when I was an alcoholic and a drug addict. So, but I made enough money selling drugs to pay for my habit. So, but when I ran out of product and couldn't sell anything, then I didn't have anything. But then I ended up in jail right after that little incident. But that particular incident. But my problem was not in how I handled my money. It was that the jobs down here in the South, where I chose to live, whatever job I had, if I was a machinist, I made after a few months, I made head machinist. If I was at a hamburger place, I ended up after 3 weeks, I ended up assistant manager of this one place because had worked in the carnival. I knew all about cooking and fast foods and stuff, and go to a carnival on a Saturday night, and it's not just a rush hour, it's 4 or 5 hours of rush, So being able to work in that kind of environment and being able to keep track of stock and things like that, which I just kind of grew up with that, so other people don't. And so it's the talents that you have. But no matter how well I did at the jobs that I had, they always paid barely above minimum wage. And so I never had a job that paid decent. So I was always in the poorhouse, even though I worked two jobs a lot of times. There was just simply not enough money to pull me out of my social status. So it wasn't that I didn't work, but the jobs that I had were only paying minimum wage. And when you're only making $4 or $5 an hour, it's hard to get along. It's hard to get, you know, it's hard to be a rich man. Even after I went back to school, I did end up finally getting a job as an engineer and with AutoCAD and so forth, and I made a really good salary there. But then our jobs got sent to Mexico, and so then there weren't any other jobs down here that would pick us up. So, but that wasn't my fault. Wasn't any of our faults. A lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of engineers lost their jobs and ended up having to go work for Walmart's and Home Depot and stuff, and just or Lowe's. And it's like, when you're an engineer and you're making 40 or $50,000 a year, nominal fee, and you have to go to work and you might be making 25, maybe 30, maybe if you're lucky. So talk about a cut and pay. So, what you have as your purpose in life. Well, your purpose is to try to maintain what you got. Now, some people have goals. Now, are goals the same as your purpose in life? Well, that's a good one. It's 1:08 in the morning time. I've got I said goals, but I've got a bowl sitting over here that in a few minutes we can light up and share together. But so our goals in life can be what our purpose is. So my goal was to, get some land, which I did, pay for it, which I did, homestead off of it, which I'm still doing, and have a place to live in my old age. Okay, so that purpose is done. But now that I'm here at 70 and looking around going, now what? Well, I'm going to live here and I'm going to do my best to keep the place up. And I got little projects. Yeah, but now what? What is my purpose? Whereas a young man, it was for family, and then it was for this, and then it was for this, and now what? So I'm still working through it. It's to have adventures. That's my answer for basically, and all kinds of adventures. But for other people, it depends on what your stage of life is, how old you are, what your job is. And there are some young folks, as we probably know, and they don't seem to have a purpose in life. They don't seem to really have any goals. Well, I didn't plan to be here. Mom and daddy had me, but I didn't plan to be here. Well, I went through that phase too. But so in this day and age, what stimulates a person to somehow get a purpose? You know, um, do they somehow come in with, well, I don't know, I'm just going to play my video games. We're just going to hang out. I'm going to live in the basement. Mama's, I don't have to worry about food because I didn't plan to be here, and mama's responsibility is to take care of me. You know, she shouldn't have had me, or whatever the freaking excuse is for that kind of stuff. The reason is I asked that I once met a Russian man in a car park with euro cash, and a friend of mine was threatened with because he lost the drugs. Oh yeah, I've been there. I've had money and drugs both stolen from me. That's not good. And then you owe somebody else or whatever. That's not good. I've had guns pointed at me. That's not good. I mean, like right between the eyes pointed at me. With the 38 snub nose was on my forehead. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I can still see the bullets in the end of the barrel. But anyway, that's one of them pictures I would like to erase forever in my brain, which won't go away. It's forever there. But and the thing is that after having been through some of those situations, you look at your life and go, what the how did I get myself into this? I should have known better. Period. I should have known better. So at the time, my purpose was to buy more drugs and was to continue my habit because my purpose had changed. My life had changed before I got thrown in jail, right? And so my purpose. So now what do I do? Uh, I'd had issues with the wife, and my son was taken away, and I lost my job, and then I hurt my back, and shit just went downhill really quick. And so my purpose then was to try to stay alive, but then I had contracted, the sniffing disease, where I was sniffing MDA and all kinds of illegal stuff. And that's what got me put in jail. Um, so, and of course, I lost the money. Almost lost my life, and I lost everything, you know. So then, while I'm in jail, guess what? My purpose in life has changed. My purpose now is to keep my sanity, get through the year in jail, and get through this and get out and start over. So as my life has gone on, things have been along the way. And those folks like me, anyway, your purpose changes depending on the circumstances. Now, I've tried my best. I've gotten jobs and thought, this is it. I'm going to work for this company forever and a day. I went to work for Mall Aircraft. I love building airplanes. I love being around those little planes and working in the machine shop and everything. I loved it. But then they transferred me to the paint department and I could not put up with the fumes and I had to find another job. As much as I hated leaving working doing that. I had to change. So sometimes there are now for um, my friend who is the lawyer, he's still a lawyer. My friend who is the doctor, he's still a doctor. There are folks who have chosen professions and they're still in them. Some of them are doing better than others, but they're still in their professions. So their purpose in life was to be a contractor or a doctor or a plumber. And so they've done that. I've tried several different times thinking that I had it right, and then the profession changed on me. So not everybody has the same chances in life. You know, I went to school to be an engineer. I was an engineer until the whole business moved to Mexico. You know, now what do you do, right? So your purpose is to still try to maintain. Your purpose is to still live life. Your purpose is to still, make ends meet. Those basic things don't change, but spiritually and mentally, your purpose changes. Now, what do I do? So, for those folks, we got 5 minutes, y'all. For those folks who are like, why am I here and what is my purpose? Why you're here and why you got here, it doesn't really matter in the long run. You're here, period. Whether you like it or not, you're here. Now, I've had things happen as a child, my little visions of this and that. So my purpose is somehow was attached to the spiritual. Not everybody gets that. I understand it. But there are some people who are musicians right off the bat. They may not play in Carnegie Hall, but they're musicians. There are people who are doctors or nurses or lawyers or secretaries. I mean, it takes a lot to be a good secretary, male or female. It takes a lot to do certain things. I mean, to be a good waitress or a waiter, and I have worked as a waiter, so I know what that means. So there are many different types of lifestyles and callings. And what is your purpose in life? There was an old black man that somebody was saying, here's this black man that all of his life, all he's been is a janitor for this school. Now, he should have had a better opportunity. He should have done this. He should have, and nobody ever asked the old black man. So when you ask the old black man, because I have talked with folks like this, he said, it's because I like my job. I like being the janitor at this school. I like seeing the children's running up and down the halls. And over the years, I have watched hundreds, if not thousands, of children come through this elementary school. And I've been able to be the janitor for every one of them. And he was flipping proud of it. But there were like white folks looking in and other people judging him from the side that here was this black man who wasn't smart enough to be any better than a janitor, when actually it's what he liked to do. He liked being around the kids at the school. He liked and so um, who are we to judge what somebody's purpose is? Hey, Mr. Jones, how you doing today? All right, Billy, how are you? There's a lot to be said in that he was nothing more than a janitor, a simple janitor. Well, I remember our bus driver. He was an older fella, but he could have picked something else to do. But he put up with us teenagers on that old cranky bus that used to break down all the damn time. But he was our bus driver for several. I graduated Tampa Catholic. He was still the bus driver of that bus for the North Tampa area. So it's like he was doing what he wanted to do. He wanted to be a bus driver. Did he get paid a lot? Probably not. I doubt it. But he wanted to be a bus driver. Uh, uh, so what are you going to do? You're going to curse a man or slight a man or a person or a woman because that's what they choose to do? If their purpose in life is like lesser somehow than what you expect them to be, well, somebody's got to be the janitor. Literally, somebody just has to. There are things to be done. I have done janitorial services and cleanup, and it just has to be done when a class is done. And I've done classes before and workshops and things. And when you get done, you got to clean up. That's just part of being a janitor, part of being, So, but is that a lesser job? Well, in India and places like that, if you are born of a certain caste, then you can only be that. You can't be anything else. If you're born in a caste and that all you can do is raise chickens, or all that you can do, that if you weren't born in the caste where the politicians are, you're not going to become a politician, or you're not going to become a state worker. If you're born in a certain caste or a certain level or social group, you just ain't going to be anything else because you're of that caste. What? Those of us in America would be screaming it, but that's like the notion, the natural order of things over yonder. Okay. Don't say it's right. And a lot of the Hindus and Hindis and Indians and Paki, they're trying to get the government and everything out of that. But talk about old guard and old traditions. They're like, nah, there are folks who literally, clean out toilets and or maids and things like that. They're not, because they have cleaned out a toilet, that they are tainted. They're no longer able to do, and they can't be around other. They can't touch food. I mean, oh my God, it's so crazy. With that said, so depending on where you are on the planet, depending on how you were raised, what your morals and mores are, as to what is your purpose in life. So, your purpose, my purpose, is to make it as long as we can, right? And to have as good a life as possible. We can probably, at our ages, respective ages, we can agree on that. That, um, we all want to do as best as possible. And, some people are very greedy and they want more. I want to be greedy, and what I want more of is a few more years. I want to try to stay healthy, and I want to, so I want to be greedy in that. But at the same time, I would still like to be able to meet some more people and to continue doing videos and have discussions, and I want to get back to doing some drumming, and want to make a sweat lodge again. And I'm hoping that maybe somebody will come and do a sweat lodge with me. But I'd like to travel. I want to go and visit with Barry. Oh, it's 2 minutes past. I got my bowl ready. I'm ready. So I'd like to make it out as maybe, get close enough to go see Steve, or somebody out yonder in Missouri, Kansas, or whatever. I really want to go back to Arkansas for a visit again, but so the shaman in me wants to go walking and see some places, but also to go visit with people, to sit and have a fire with them, and to share in whatever universal whatevers that I can share with them, And I don't know whether it's, I'm going to do good or bad or whatever, but it seems to be my calling to just go and help folks in whatever way to uplift their spirits, or maybe go kick them in the butt, or maybe make them go kayaking with me or camping, or do. So I don't know what or how it's going to turn out, but my purpose seems to be the same, in that I do want to wish to continue to help folks in whatever way possible. So, which means that I need to stay as healthy as possible, if my purpose is going to be that. So, other people, so what is your purpose? Does it have to change, or does it have to stay the same? So, the person that's a doctor, he also does theater. He's also, done some other things. So it's not like that's all that he does. The same thing with the lawyer. The lawyer was a lawyer, but he also played all different types of instruments and was in a bluegrass band. So just because you're a lawyer or a doctor or whatever you are, it doesn't mean that that's the only thing you have to be. And that was the difference with that friend of mine who was the realtor. She didn't know how to be anything else. She didn't know how to live within her means. And when she left from being in, with houses and incomes at $1.5 million worth of stuff, and not having to worry about money, and then it all changed, and a lot of it was her fault, but the market also changed. So the house that was worth 7,500, $750,000 is now only worth 125. So when the housing market hit quite a few years back, there was nothing she could do about that. But what she could do with the money that she got out of the market, she could have done better. But to the point though, so um, things change that are out of our realm. It ain't your fault, you know. It ain't my fault. Um, Stuff happens. Life happens. And so the best we can do, and some folks like my doctor friend and lawyer friend, they have just really not had any major stuff get in their way. They have bought a house, live in the neighborhood. They've got friends. They go to the country club. Blah 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 blah, blah, and life is just kind of moseyed right along for them. Where other folks are struggling, like me, I've had a gazillion different jobs. I've tried my best to keep them. I've worked hard. Worked two jobs. I've tried to provide, and I've just eked out a living. You know, I was so glad that one year I made $38,000. I was like, oh my God, if I could have made $38,000 for a couple of years in a row, I would be a millionaire. But it only lasted for 2 years. So, but I had a little taste of that, what it's like to almost make $40,000 in 1 year. So, but I've had practice at being poor. So now, because I'm on a limited income, now I'm getting by better than friends of mine, because they have not had to live. They've always had good jobs. They've always made good money. And now they don't know how to live within their means. So their purpose in life has changed. And why am I here? And what am I going to do? And it's like, well, I just can't live the way I used to. Right. I can't do what I used to. Right. You're on limited income. Sorry. That's just the way it is. You can't live like you're making $5,000 a month when you only make three. You can't go down to the store and buy $50 worth of scratch off. and not really get anything for it. You can't be doing these things that you used to could do. It's you have to change your purpose. You got to change what your goals are because the situation has changed. Life has changed. And by golly, every single one of us has got to adapt to the situation. Some folks have to adapt more than others. For folks like me who just life has been topsy turvy, I had lots of plans. I thought that the carnival was going to live forever, and that at my age I'd be able to go out on the road in the summers and make a little extra money as a carny. No, that ain't happening. I got a huge popcorn maker, and a cotton candy machine that I was going to use in my retirement days, and I can't use them now. The market just doesn't call for that kind of thing anymore. And the laws have changed, and you have to have licenses and insurance to make freaking cotton candy and popcorn. You have you know, health department, and it's popcorn. Sorry, you got to have a license. I'm not preparing food. It's popcorn. You have to have a license. Okay. So licenses and insurance and all that. You can't just go out and sell bags of popcorn and cotton candy to make a little extra cash now because it costs thousands of dollars for the setup. And then you have to have permission. And then you have to have, oh, never mind. So, you know, purposes and what we think our goals and what we think's going to happen changes because of time and circumstances. I just knew that I was going to be able to have a little part-time job at when I retired as a carny. That ain't happening. So, but it's okay. So, but so my purpose is to learn how to live this new puzzle. And the puzzle is here's this much money every month. How can you survive? You got your land paid off. That was smart. Now, how can you survive? So, what is now your purpose? Well, some would say it's to play a new game. It's a new game, but it's not. The parameters have changed. So, it's the game of life, you know? So, the game of life says, okay, this is what you've been dealt. You roll the dice, you go six paces, and you land on whatever, and you pick a card, and it says, you owe the doctor $150, and each player gets $25 because you were stupid. Okay, fine, or whatever the game is. But in the game of life, so then um, your purpose changes. Why am I here? Well, it's to figure out this next puzzle part. Like, well, it's still life. Yeah, but how am I going to get through this next section? Don't know. But over my lifetime, and for anybody, and if you're 20 years old, you got 20 years of experience, or maybe a lifetime or whatever. I know some 20 years old that seem like they're 40. And I've known some 40 years old that don't seem like they're but 15. So it goes both ways. But in the scheme of things, though, um, you know, now what am I going to do? So there are people who have gone through depressions. They don't know what they have lost their purpose. And so the depression takes over their brain because the purpose that they had, if they had one, has now been altered in some way, shape, or form. And so what they thought was their purpose in life, the depression, and uh, for me, it was, you're no good because you lost your job. Well, wait a minute. I didn't tell them to move the damn factory to Mexico. I didn't quit my job. The whole freaking factory moved. All the machines, wait a minute, hang on. It ain't my fault. I lost my job. So But so society will tack things onto us. So that, like for me, well, you can't keep a job. Well, I did for 7 years until they moved the plant, and sold out. Um, Wait a minute. Years ago, I had trouble keeping a job, but there were still times I had a job thinking I was doing really well. And I walked in one day and the guy said, "Look, we got to let you go." And I was like, "Well, why?" And he goes, "Well, you're learning the electrical business, but not quick enough." And I was like, "Not quick enough? You hired me on as an apprentice to learn the electrical business. I was doing counter work and I was learning. I was studying at night what different aughts of, you know, um, cable were, what different names for different things. And I was doing inventory. And the next thing I know, the guy says, "Well, that's it. Uh, we just don't have a job for you." But then a week later, I found out that they hired a black guy from another company and at more money than I was making and hired him on full time. And I was like, but I lost my job and was like unemployed. I was trying to have a family and trying to feed, and wait a minute. Plus I was on probation at the time. So it's like, it wasn't my fault. I said, "What did I do wrong?" And the guy said, "Nothing." And he said, "You just weren't cut out for this kind of work." And I was trying balls off to try to do the best job. And he was like, "You just ain't good." He just did not like me, period. And one of the other guys that worked there, they just, you know, and so I was blackballed and they got somebody else in there that they both liked. So, politics in small towns and whatever. But so there again, it wasn't my fault. I was there at the job every day. I worked overtime. I did whatever they asked me to do, and it still wasn't good enough. I still lost the job. So, purpose in life, life changes, your goals. Well, every time I turned around, it seemed like I had to repurpose myself. And I know there are other people that are like that. Some of them are just deadbeats. Now, I was at times termed a deadbeat because the job thing, right? Well, you can't keep a job. Well, I'm trying. There are some people who can't keep a job because they can't keep a job. I know somebody that I found out just the other day, a friend through a family member thing, and it was like, "No, he's unemployed again." What? I thought he had a job and was making. Yeah, well, he lost his job again. So every 3, 6 months, depending, this guy's going through jobs. Just because you can't keep it. Well, I don't like it, and they didn't treat me right, or whatever the reason, right? I wasn't like that. I tried to stick it out, no matter how crappy it got, because I needed a job. I couldn't be unemployed. So, but purpose in life changes depending on circumstances. Now, our overall, um, there are some folks that have a midlife crisis. Does their purpose change? Well, they're married with kids and blah 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 blah. And now they want a divorce, or honey, I bought this car, or whatever the deal is. To them, it seems like their purpose in life has changed, or that they've lost their purpose and they need to find a new one. So why do they have a midlife crisis? It's because somehow they've gotten lost in whatever's going on. So we need to adapt to it, whatever it is. So, for those folks who are like, "Why am I here?" It's to get through life the best way we can. Make as few waves as possible, unless our job is. Now, some people have a mission, you know, and good for them. Other folks are just kind of sort of here. Well, I'm going to get a job and I'm going to find out where it takes me. Now, I'm not putting my sister down, but she never really had a goal. Her goal was to, she worked at Walmart. She was good at her job. She advanced within her department, and then Walmart let her go. Not her fault again, right? Or not our fault. But she worked at Hardee's for a long time, early shift making biscuits. and then she couldn't do the work anymore because of the arthritis in her fingers. But she had to make a career change. But she did. But she got a job. She worked hard. She was there all the time. She worked for a bunch of years. Had accumulated, you know, and then you know, she lost her job. Well, now her purpose changes, because now what do I do? I was making a certain amount of money, and I had goals, and my purpose was to help provide for the grandkids and to do these things, and now I can't do them. And now she has been able to find another job because she's low on skills and not very computer literate. I'm not blaming my dear sister, but she's always worked hard all of her life. But at the same point, though, in this caste system, she's been stuck in this tier of that, well, you can only do janitorial or maid work or this kind of work, or you can only do this, or, because you're not smart enough and you're too dumb and wait a minute, hang on, you know, so you get stuck. So, um, that will change a person's purpose, if you will, and their goals and how am I going to succeed in life? How can I make it through my life? Well, if you have all these stumbling blocks like money and issues and society and changes, some people have it much harder. So, we pray for the best. And I'm not saying that folks whose purpose haven't changed, like the doctor or the lawyer or the vet or whoever, they've made good choices. I tried to be an engineer for years. It just didn't work out for me. So, I wanted to be an architect and I tried to be, I had all my construction stuff and the market fell. So, whatever lady luck did not shine on me in the ways that other people who decided to be a contractor or an engineer or an architect, they had better luck. Oh, well, is it fate? Did it change my purpose? Did it change my goals? Well, I still wish to be those things. But I think overall, no, my general purpose is still here to help people and to still be a prayer warrior. And I think that we can still help each other. And for whatever has happened in the past for me are lessons for the future to try to be able to use what were stumbling blocks for me in life. I can see now and later on that these were teaching devices so that I may be able to um, understand how different people in different walks of life may feel, or how they may understand, or what their motivation for life, or how they, might feel in a situation. So it's been a training tool for me. So, how's life treating you? Do you know what your purpose is? Um, are you supposed to be a shaman or a wise man or a wise woman or a medicine person? Or are you just here just to get through life and do the best you can? Well, that should be for all of us. So I'm not going to drag this on. It was just sort of on my mind, and it was like there are some folks who have a definite purpose, and then there are folks who, like me, it just life just kind of made it scattered. I didn't try to be scattered; it just ended up that way. I used to call them pre-smoked tobacco. Yeah, I used to find butts in the gutter back in the day and smoke them. Um, they were called OPs. Hey man, you got an OP? What? Other people's. And where'd you get that cigarette? It's an OP. It's some other person's cigarette. You swiped it, you bummed it, you got it out of the gutter. You know. Anyway, OP. Well, look, my dear friends, I do continue to pray each and every day that each and every one of you will continue to learn to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings that are out there in the universe. You know, I pulled a card earlier when I was on Robert's show, and it was the dolphin. And it's about breathing, and it's about understanding that mana is all around us. The Great Spirit is all around us. The beginning of the universe is all around us. And when we breathe in the energy of the universe. So I will continue to pray that each and every day, each and every one of you will continue to learn how to breathe correctly, and that you will breathe in the manna from the universe, and that you will learn to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, and the many blessings from the universe. Yeah, we are stardust, we are golden, we are a billion-year-old carbon. And that's words to Woodstock. But I will continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings from the universe. That was the third time around. So, all of your relatives and all of your relations, so if somebody asks you, well, I don't know why I'm here, and look, make the best of it. For years I've fascinated and focused on why am I here and what is my purpose, and I I didn't want to be here. Y'all had me, and it was out of wedlock, and I was adopted, and y'all put me through all this stuff, and I didn't ask to be here, damn it. And come on, just shut up and get over it, you know. Oh yeah, Steve, I have got that overqualified bit too. Yep, showing up. Well, my dear friends, um, I wish everybody the best. Have a great rest of the week. I hope to see you soon, and blessings to all y'all. All right, and keep it between the ditches. Stay warm, and I do hope to see you soon. um, and think about what goes on. It's like, well, I don't know where my life is headed, or things have changed, and I don't know what to do. If you've lost your purpose in life, learn how to breathe again. Take a deep breath, and maybe the universe has got something for you. So until next time. Uh, I love you, Chloe, Michelle, Steve, Barry, if you haven't gone to sleep yet, and Niles, and all y'all. Thank you so much. Namaste. Until next time, please be safe. And ween. Cheers, everybody. Adios.